All right, I'm recording. Um, like I said, let's look at the chat from yesterday. This is the Flipgrid for this week. Like I said, they'll be worth more, so make sure you do them. If you need to go click on that link, go click on the link now and get it done. Or not now, during the lecture, right after. You will have a quiz today on Chapter 5. I will be putting that out right after this. Please make sure that you get that done. You will not be able to make up these last two chapters because I've let you make up almost every chapter before this, and you actually need to do the work when I tell you to do the work. So let's make sure we're getting that done. I've got about 20 people in the meeting. I think that that's good. We're going to get going with a poem today by Edgar Allan Poe called The Dream Within a Dream. Put that up. Okay, here we go. So this is one of your poems that you have to do this week. I'm just blurring my background real quick. Better. And it's by Edgar Allan Poe. It's called A Dream Within a Dream. Edgar Allan Poe was he was a great poet and a short story writer. This was first published in 1849. It expresses doubt and uncertainty about the nature of reality, right? Or are we doing a dream within a dream? What Poe is basically known for, he was a major figure in world literature at the time, right up to his death and after. But he helped shape what American literature and poetry looked like because he was a critic at the time. And he was highly influential when he wrote his criticisms. So he helped shape early American lit and made sure that it was separated from British literature. He is known for short story form, which you read one of his short stories called The Purloined Letter. That was a very early detective story that became popular after that. He was one of the first of the detective genre and the short story sci-fi genre. Okay, so there was a lot evolving at that time. There was no real sci-fi literature, science fiction literature. There was fiction literature. And there's a distinct difference between fiction and science fiction. He was one of the pioneers. So this is Edgar Allan Poe's A Dream Within a Dream. I love Poe. I could probably do a whole class on him. Odd figure, died very young, destitute in the street, maybe of rabies, they think. Interesting story. Okay, so it's Dream Within a Dream, published 1849. The poem expresses doubt and uncertainty about the nature. I already read that. It begins with the speaker parting from a lover, or at least whom they are very close, and ends with the speaker on a beach, attempting to grasp grains of sand, but they keep slipping through the speaker's fingers. The poem is appropriately riddle-like, as its speaker grows increasingly troubled with the lack of certainty whether or not reality is all just a dream within a dream. All right, so here it is, A Dream Within a Dream. Take this kiss upon the brow, and in parting from you now, thus much let me avow. You are not wrong, who deem that my days have been a dream. Yet if hope has flown away in a night or in a day, in a vision or in none, is it therefore less gone? All that we see or seem is but a dream within a dream. I stand amid the roar of a surf-tormented shore, and I hold within my hand grains of the golden sand. How few, yet how they creep through my fingers to the deep, while I weep. O God, can I not grasp them with a tighter clasp? O God, can I not save one from the pitiless wave? Is all that we see or seem but a dream within a dream? All right. Lots going on here in the poem. This one rhymes much more than other poems that I've given you, and I did that on purpose. It does have a distinct rhyme scheme. If we start looking at the end lines that rhyme, we have this pattern: A, B, B, C, C, D, D, E, E. That's the rhyming pattern for the top half. It almost matches the second half in that most of them are couplets with a tercet right here, three lines that rhyme, except he kind of scrambles up the order. We have A A, B B, C C C, D D E E F F. Okay, 11 lines in the top, 13 lines in the bottom. The basic summary is: I kiss you on the forehead to say goodbye. Now that I'm leaving, let me say this: you weren't wrong to say that I have been living in a dream. But what does it matter? I've lost all hope. So whether it's night or day, whether life is a vision or nothing of the sort, would that make me feel any less hopeless? Everything that we perceive is nothing but a dream within a dream. I stand on the coast, hearing the deafening sound of the surf as it pounds on the shore. I grasp at grains of golden sand. Even with just a few grains in my hands, they really seem to escape my grip and fall back into the water while I cry and cry. Dear God, can't I hold on to the sand more firmly? Dear God, can't I save a single grain from the water? Is everything we perceive just a dream within a dream? There's poem, the main theme of the poem is about reality, illusion, and control, right? It expresses the idea that our reality itself is an illusion. Think about the movie The Matrix, if you've seen The Matrix, right? How do we know we're not just living in some sort of simulation and we're not all just plugged in? Like, what can we do that tells us that this is more than just us sitting around? It's actually happening and it's reality. It's a deep philosophical question that still is very highly debated today. The speaker might be thinking that reality is the most literal sense here, as in people are basically living in the matrix, but they could also be about a subtler idea about objectivity, right? So the speaker is kind of suggesting that people are doomed to view the world through the prism of their own perception and experiences. This is the only view in which I can view the world. I cannot view it from your viewpoint, and you can't view it from mine. So, is it ever possible to know about objective reality, what is real to you, of anything at all, right? Besides what we feel about it. And because the world is ultimately unknowable, besides by what you objectively perceive, the poem implies that people aren't really in control of their own fates, right? That's what we're kind of getting to. The poem begins with somebody saying goodbye to somebody. Take this kiss upon the brow. It's kind of implied that it's a lover, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. We don't know if the speaker's male or female, so it's an ambiguous speaker here. But he is saying bye, right? Take this kiss upon the brow, and in parting from you now, I'm leaving. This much let me avow, that my days have been a dream, right? So, this other person has said that the speaker's days have been a dream, and the speaker agrees. It's not clear if it's meant as a positive in this relationship that has been really great, and oh my gosh, it was a dream, and it's so awesome, or in the sense that the relationship and the speaker's life is not in line with how things actually are, right? When you dream, it's not reality, it's separate from reality. So, which definition of this word are we going with? Which denotation, right? It connotes many different things, but which denotation do we have to work with? And part of it, I mean, if you really want to go down this hole, you can go down it forever. Like what it means, what this poem means to me and my objective reality is different from what it means to you and your objective reality. And then we just kind of argue and argue and argue. And while they both might be right, we can never really prove to another person that is exactly because all of reality is objective. That's not something you use in an essay, though, because that gets you a 0. It's not clear. Either way, so these people are saying goodbye, right? And it leads the speaker to express a kind of hopelessness. And it's rooted in this doubt of nature and reality and control. And indeed, it perhaps stems from the way something like love can seem so certain before, and then one day it's just suddenly gone. The speaker introduces another layer of unreality. The speaker claims that not just what he sees, but that all of life is not just a dream, but a dream within a dream. It comes a lot from the speaker being anxious about lacking control over what's around him, right? So much so that the speaker's not even sure if he's living in his own dream or somebody else's dream. Which, wow, just way out there, right? Maybe the speaker's talking about being a dream in the mind of some greater being, like a God, perhaps, right? This is supported by appeals to God in the second stanza down here. Oh God, can I not grasp them with a tighter clasp? Either way, reality and what we perceive is shown as a kind of illusion, and not necessarily the sense that people are actively deceived, but that there is no way of knowing for sure what is real. And either way, the poem implies this means people aren't in control of their own lives. The second stanza then finds the speaker alone, right? He's standing on a beach. It's dreamlike in the fact that it skips from one scene to the next without any real sort of transition, right? Like 1 minute he's saying goodbye, next minute, boom, I'm on a beach. He's trying to confirm reality by grasping sand in his hand. He figures that if he can touch something tangible, he can confirm the reality of the world by grasping it. And yet, if you've ever tried to grasp sand, unless your hands are wet, right, it just keeps slipping through your fingers. And the tighter you grasp it, the more it seems to flow out. And the constantly shifting shoreline also seems to speak to our speakers just lack of certainty and control. The speaker wants to find something solid to hold on to, but is faced with only this relentless and ongoing change. The time nor tide wait for no man, right? It's constantly changing. You go to the beach and you could see the waves crash on the shore. They're constantly bringing in more sand and taking some sand away. So it's ever shifting. It's in a state of constant flux. That's the metaphor of the beach here. That's what that's what the metaphor of the beach implies. No matter what we do, we're kind of not in control. And then finally, to intensify this doubt and uncertainty, the poem restates the earlier claim. Okay, up here he says, all that we see or seem is but a dream within a dream. And here he rephrases it into a question. Life is just a dream within a dream. The speaker strongly held intention about him not being able to know if this is a dream within a dream or not has changed as well, because he doesn't even know if it's a dream within a dream. Like here he's kind of, all that we see or see is but a dream within a dream. Here he's kind of questioning even that reality. So when he's questioning the original reality at the top, he's doing it again at the bottom, which just even like folds it in upon itself. All this basically to say, it amounts to an argument that basically human life and human objectivity is based on the shakiest of foundation. And perhaps that the nature of reality is even beyond the limit of our understanding. Because he's still questioning it down here. We have one question in the first stanza, and he seems so sure of himself here. And yet, as he loses control, we get more questions, and then we end on a final question. So the things he thinks he has answers to in the beginning of the poem are kind of unraveling, and his sense of control and reality slip with it. All right, let's look at a couple of different things going on within the poem. I should have started with this, but of course, I didn't. I had planned on starting with it. Where is it? It's on one of my 3 screens. Here it is. We have a new way of analyzing poetry I introduced with this poem. This is the table of explication, or table to explicate. How do you explain a poem? This is a lot of higher level stuff, but I just need you to answer as many as you can, so it's pretty easy. The situation: does the poem tell a story? Is it narrative? What events occur? Does the poem express an emotion or mood? Who is the speaker? Is the poet speaking to the reader directly, or is the poem told through a fictional persona? To whom is he speaking? Can you trust the speaker? And then tone. What is the speaker's attitude towards the subject of the poem? So basically, here, the situation is somebody's questioning reality. It's not narrative, it doesn't tell a story. It's a snapshot of him leaving and then him questioning. We don't know who the speaker is in this one, it's not clear or certain. And it doesn't seem like the poet is, or the speaker is speaking directly to the person that's reading it. This seems more like a cry into the night or some sort of plea towards a higher being for understanding. What's the tone? The first time he seems a little reluctant. He seems confused and questioning. And then it changes in the second stanza. The tone shifts toward a little bit more, I would say, a maniacal need to know. Like he's kind of going a little crazy there, getting desperate for answers when he starts exclaiming here. How few, yet how they creep through my fingers into the deep, while I weep, while I weep. O God, can I not grasp them with a tighter clasp? O God, can I not save one from the pitiless wave? Okay, he's getting more and more desperate as it's going on. Number of lines, 11 in the first stanza, 13 in the second, for a total of 24. They are split into two different stanzas, and it separates two ideas. The poem develops from him seeming to know, saying goodbye, and seeming to have this certainty that all we see or seem is but a dream within a dream. We have no control. And shifts to this desperate need to know if we have control over anything. And then ending on a moment of uncertainty about whether we'll ever be able to realize and if that's okay or not. It's not broken up into sentences, it's broken up into stanzas, but if you wanted to, I would say that this has 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 9 sentences. If you skipped all the enjambment and just put it all together as sentences, but I wouldn't read it that way. No, the sentence does not always conclude at the end of a poetic line. Look at this one, how few, right here. That's a little bit of starting on the same line. And the title. The title is just a refrain from what happens in here in the last in the last line of each stanza. It does pull out a main idea. Language, diction, or word choice. He seems to make rhymes and using language to do that. I wouldn't say it's colloquial language or very base. It's a little bit more formal, but he does use simple words in there, especially for the time. Things like a vow, and there was a couple other that really pitiless wave. Surf tormented shore. It's a little figurative, a little flowery, but it's mostly, there's only 2 main metaphors in it, so it's not that bad. There are allusions to a couple things outside of the poem, but nothing we can't grasp, right? Lots of imagery. The kiss upon the brow is interesting, right? Like, who do you do that to? And even in 1849, like, that wasn't, like, honestly, because of my frame of reference, because of my objective reality, I think, and it's not even a kiss upon the brow, it's when Michael kisses Fredo in The Godfather, right? Like, boom, it's a goodbye. And not only a goodbye, it's a final goodbye. So, I mean, but that's the frame of reference that I have. But yeah, Take this kiss upon the brow, and in parting from you now, let me. So yeah, it's a little strange. I would definitely make something out of that. Rhyme scheme we went over. These do have a rhyme scheme, so make sure that you put it. Sound effects like assonance, alliteration. You know what? There's some of it in here, and we can get into that, but that's really not something as for 10th grading. If this was an AP class, I'd be literally beating you to death with these things right here. But we don't need that right now because we're not an AP class. But yes, there is some alliteration in it. Alliteration is the repetition of it's a figure of speech. The same sound repeats. I got stuck there in a group of words. Okay, so if we look at right here, where is it? You are not wrong to deem. Deem, days, dream. That triple D sound right there. Also, dream within a dream. Hold in hand, in I hold within my hand. That repetition of the breathy H sounds here. So a couple different of those. There's things like anaphora, some apostrophe, and it's two the same things. It's oh God and oh God. It's a direct. It's a figure of speech where the speaker directly addresses someone, right? He's, oh God, oh God. I don't think this is the, oh God, like breathy and at the end of his rope. I think this is a plea to God. Like, why can't I do that? Like, give me answers. So, lots of that going on. Has the poem created a change in mood for you? And I say yes, there is a change in mood here. Here, he seems more sure of himself. I know I've said this before. And here, he begins to question everything, even the fact that what he thought was happening above is still happening, right? And how have some technical elements? Well, there's only one question here, and it's more of a rhetorical question, right? So if hope has flown away in a night or in a day, so he's saying if the hope has left me and this is just a dream, does that make this hope leaving me any less real to me? No. So it's a rhetorical question. Here, he is railing at anyone to tell him why he can't objectify this reality, why he can't ground himself in reality any more than he could, and he has lost this certainty he had up here. And it comes through the image of this constantly changing shore where he can't hold something in his hand. And that's about it for this one. There's a lot of different stuff in here. A couple of like vocabulary that might be tough. Brow. Everybody knows brow's forehead, right? All right. A vow in the third line. It's to say something with authority. Deem. Oh, deem that my days. Deem is something to regard it in a specific way. Amid is in the middle of or amongst, surrounded by. I stand amid the roar of a surf-tormented shore. He's in the middle of it. Surf-tormented, guys, the waves are breaking on the shore, and it's constant. That's all that surf-tormented means. Although surf-tormented, for poetic reasons, is better than waves crashing on the shore. Because, yes, the shore is tormented, but he himself is tormented as well, which makes the surf... The reflection of himself is he's put it onto the shore, right? So he's personification. He's making the shore seem tortured when he's the one that's tortured. Clasp means to grab. And pitiless down here. The waves show no mercy. Can I not save one from the pitiless wave? The waves don't care about mercy, and they don't care about our speaker concerns. The waves don't have feelings at all, so this is another sense of personification where he's giving human attributes to inanimate objects. He does it twice, once to the wave, twice to the waves, the shore and the waves here. So There's a lot of different things to do with meter, but we don't go over those because I don't like those at all. But I think we've gone over everything in this explication. If you missed anything, because you probably did, remember I drop these lectures in every day into the channel. If you don't know where that is, let me show you. So here's our Mount SAC English 10. If I go to the general channel in posts, once I hit the stop button over here, I'm going to drop a link to the Loom video. I did it yesterday. Okay, actually I do it every day that we have a Loom, or every day that we have a lecture. I drop the Loom video in here. If you don't know where something's going to be at, check posts first. Okay, I dropped in a lot yesterday. I dropped in, I changed the assignment. It tells you I did that. Here's the link for quiz 3 and 4. They're closed now. Grades. Some people asked me for their current grade. I sent it to them. Remember, we still have chapter summaries. I only have one group that turned in all their chapter summaries so far, and it's been graded. So if you've turned in your chapter summaries, I'll give it to you. I'll grade it. All right. I think that's it for this. Some people didn't do Flipgrid yesterday. It dropped their grade 3 percentage points. Get them done. Okay, I don't want to give people D's in this class. I will show you grades. Here are grades. I blacked out names because I knew I was going to show it to you. But let's take a look. Okay, we have 1,925 points in this class right now. I have people anywhere from a 56. Highest is an 89.35. And that's without the final, which will give you a bump. But you got to take it, right? Like, all these red are people not turning stuff in. That's a 0. I don't have quiz 5. This is a copy of something else. Quiz 5 is not there yet. And quiz 6. I'm going to drop quiz 5 in the chat today. Your book tester final is here. This is 20% of your grade right now, people. This is Flipgrid from yesterday. This is Flipgrid from today. This is Flipgrid for tomorrow. This is Dream Within a Dream. And this is The Second Coming and The Purloined Letter. Those are the only things I need to grade. Everything else has been there. So hopefully we can start turning things in and getting things done so that these aren't so much, 40s and 50s? Let's look. Boom. So I got a 47 with somebody. Yeah, be quiet. And the highest right now is an 86. So take a look at that. Should be interesting. All right. I'll get those references back in a second. If you have any questions, stick around. I will be here. If not, jump into your novel groups. I will drop, look, I'll do it right now. Quizzes. My quizzes. Assign for homework. You have until 7 o'clock tonight to get this done twice. Remember, you can do all your quizzes twice. I'm going to share the link in Teams. Ready? That is your quiz. Get in your novel groups. Get that done. And hopefully those grades will continue to go up. Like I said, questions, I'll be here. If not, into your groups. Have fun. Those who've been emailing me, good job. I'm going to drop the Flipgrid in here right now, too. Make sure you get that done. If you have no questions, have a good day. Talk to you later.